So how do you teach your kids how to have a legacy and become more financially literate? One of the ways that I would share with you is that you do need to do that by example. And if you're a father like me, you know and have a desire that you want to make sure that your kids are better off than you are. If you are, especially if you're a good father or you're a good dad, if you're a good mom or if you're a good mother, you want to make sure that your kids are better off than you. And the best way to do that is to teach them by example. I'm going to give you a few tips in this video about some things that you can do to teach them some intangibles and some which are things that are like more of your values and more of your beliefs and your habits and your whys. And then I'm going to share with you a couple of actual tangible tips that you can teach kids to make sure that they're managing their money more effectively. And then the end, I'm going to give you kind of a wrap up on what I've done in my career as a father. And I say career as a father because it feels like a job some days. It's legit. So one of the first things I would say is that what are the values that you hold dear? Honesty, integrity, good character, good work ethic. What are the things that you hold dear? Make sure that you're teaching your kids those things. And first of all, by example. The second way is to teach them by actually having lessons with them. Do you take time with your kids on a regular basis to kind of have a one-on-one meeting? Maybe you want to have a meeting with them once a week. Maybe it's once a month. Whatever it is, take time to actually sit down with your kids and teach them. I have chores every Saturday where I teach them good work ethic. We have chores that they do in the home to help run the home and develop the home. And we talk about honesty on a regular basis. If we catch the children telling us a fib, we talk about why it's important to be honest and true and to be good and to tell the truth all the time. And even if there's a consequence, the consequences are always less when you tell the truth. And so what are your critical values? What are the principles that you have and you hold true that you want to make sure that your children have? And then take time on a regular basis to teach those things. Even if you literally sit them down and say, look, I'm going to teach you about integrity. I'm going to teach you about having good character. I'm going to teach you about being honest. I'm going to teach you about having a good work ethic. And then more importantly is to, especially when you're teaching them about a good work ethic, is to actually give them work to do and then follow through with making sure that they get it done. Now those are some intangibles. Now the tangibles are some tips and tricks that I would suggest that you do with your kids. One is you want to make sure that they have some kind of ability to manage money, whether it's an allowance, whether you work out some kind of work option where you pay them some other way. Make sure that they know and understand the value of money and have a way to receive a bank account. The bank, a lot of banks will let you have children's accounts that you can be a custodian over. Make sure that you're getting a checking account for your kids as soon as that's possible, and then teach them how to balance their checkbook every day or every week or every month, and teach them that if they have a certain dollar amount in there, say $100, that they can't spend more than that. That's what they get, and once they hit their limit, that's it until the next time they get paid or whatever interval of payments that you require or you create. Another thing too is one of the things that we all need to do is discipline our spending and our impulse buying. And so teaching your children those types of principles as well. I think another thing that's important is as soon as a child becomes able to drive, that they understand the importance of car insurance and cars and gas and maintenance and all the things that go into that. Just let them know that, hey, there's a price tag to this. And I'm not telling you that to shame you or guilt you into doing certain things, but you want to teach them that having those types of things is a privilege, not a right. Another thing is once your kids get a little older and as they turn 18, I would recommend a credit card or an investment account. Start showing them the power of compound interest, and if they put away just a few dollars every month when they get their first job, if they put, let's say, an 18-year-old putting $100 a month at 8 or 9 or 10%. That's pretty common with the S&P 500. They can actually have $1 million or more when they hit retirement, 60, 65 years old. So showing them to start early on their finances, teaching them the things that you wish you knew would be a really good thing to do. Teaching them about how when you do get a credit card, pay it off every month. Don't get into debt. Don't spend more than you have. And teaching them those things that even if you're not quite yet there yourself, make sure that you're on track to it yourself so that you're teaching them from a position of integrity and moral authority, because your kids are going to follow what you do way more than what you say. If they see you buying stuff when they know you don't have the money, or they wonder because you told them, hey, we don't have the money for that, but then they see you buying stuff for you because they wanted something and you said, no, we can't afford it, and then they see you and watch you go buy stuff. They're going to watch that. They're smart. They know what's going on. And so one of the things that I would say is that teach your children what you would have liked to know when you were their age, and do it in a way that's fun and productive. So what did I do as a financial coach, financial advisor? What did I do with my kids growing up? Here's a couple of tips that I did with my own family to make sure that I had lived these same principles. So when my kids turned 13, I went and got them a checking account. The bank that I worked, that I used, that was the age that they had. So I got them a checking account, a debit card, and I said, look, you're going to get X number of dollars every month. That's all you get. If you spend it, you're out. If you don't, if you have some left over, it carries over to the next month. And I'll just give you the same, I'll let you manage that money the way that you want to manage it. I've had to step in a couple of times just to make sure that certain payments were actually went through and didn't get overdrafted. But it's been a really good exercise in teaching my kids how to manage money effectively. Another thing is that when they turned 18, actually before they turned 18, and as they were younger kids, I would actually sit them down and show them how I managed our money. I'd show them what it was for a mortgage, the car payments, insurance. I showed them all the things that we had to pay every month, how much money we made. Let them see my assets, my liabilities, that if I had any. And I do have like a home, I have a consumer debt, but I always paid off my credit cards, so I did that by example for sure. But I would sit down with my kids, I'd show them our income, I'd show them our expenses, I'd show them our assets and our liabilities, and I'd teach them why this is important for us, why is this important for our family, and how it's going to be important for them in the future. Because what you want them to know, or when they actually jump out on their own, you don't want them to be so they're already overwhelmed, but you don't want to be even more overwhelmed with, I've never learned a thing about money, now what do? I'm on my own, I've got to figure all of this out on my own. I've never even had any education on financial literacy at all. But if you'll sit down with them on a regular basis like I did, I sat down with my kids and I showed them everything. And then when they turned 18, I got them a budget, they got a job, I taught them what to do with their paychecks as they came in. I made sure they got a credit card so they could start building credit, and I taught them how to manage that so that they were paying it off every month. And then I also got them involved in an investment account. There's a great investment, there's a lot of different fintech investment accounts, but I got them involved with an investment account that they could pay, that they could earn a high yield savings account. It was a high yield savings account, and you could invest in the stock market. And so I'd teach them that, hey, every month, if you put aside this money, you're going to be able to have this much at the time you turn 60 or 65 or 50. You're going to be way better off than I was. And I constantly would reiterate with them, look, if I were you, if I could start over and do it again and I was your age, this is what I would do. This is how I do it. Now, does it always stick? Do the kids always follow what we say? Any parent knows that, half of what you say there goes in one ear and out the other. And then the other half, you're still not sure if they actually picked it up or figured it out. But one of the things that I know that I did was at least I taught them. At least I did my part as a father to make sure that they knew the right things, the right principles. They knew about our values. They knew about tangibles, actual items that they could do. One last thing I'll share with you is this was kind of fun to do as they were little. So any parent knows if you take a kid to the store, they're going to say, Mom, can we buy this? Dad, can we buy this? They're going to want to buy everything. Well, I would teach my kids, look, even if we had all the money in the world and we could buy everything, where are you going to put it? And so I gave them kind of perspective about that. The other thing I said, look, the last thing we bought, you don't even play with it anymore. So is this something you really want? And then I'd make them think about it. Like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I do. Nah, maybe I don't. So they would really think about it. The third thing is that if I had the budget for it, I might pick it up for them. But more often than not, I would say, look, let's put it on the wish list. Let's put a list together so that when we come back, if you still want it, then we'll go ahead and pick it up, or we'll save for it. So a lot of times I would teach my kids, look, how much does it cost? How much does it, let's go save for it. Put it on a list and let's save up for it. And once we have the money, we'll come back and we'll buy it. A lot of times they'd save up for it, come back, and they didn't even want to buy it. They didn't want it anymore. They wanted something else. And so we would save for that. So I highly recommend that you take time to teach your kids. Give them the tools necessary to not only have a good character and good integrity and honesty, but also actual practical skills that they can do to manage money, to discipline their spending, to curb their impulse buying, and make sure that they're doing what they need to do to get out of debt, stay out of debt, never get into debt in the first place, frankly, and start saving and investing for their financial futures. If you've ever asked yourself the question, should I save for retirement or should I save for my children's college? You're going to want to watch this video right here. Whatever you do, make sure that you spend time every single day turning your income into wealth and building your massive bank account. We'll see you on the next one.